Hello one and all, and once again welcome to Pankaj's Echelon tutorial. In this today's session, I'm going to solve two questions on bearings with you people. So this is question number 2 and question number 3, which I'm going to uh, solve with you people. Okay, so let us get started and let me bring this on full screen. Now let me tell you, this is for the IGCSE 10th grade students of international mathematics. And this particular question I have picked up from a book called uh, International Maths by Hodder's publication. Okay, now this is the book from which I have taken this particular question. So question number 2 and question number 3. Now these two questions you will see they are based on something called back bearing. Okay. Now what is back bearing? That also I will discuss in the process of solving these two questions. So let me write down the question number 2 first. Question number 2 says that given the following bearings of point, uh, let me take it a bit. Second. Yeah. Fine. So now you can read it properly. So question number 2 says that given the following bearing of point B from point A, B from point A. So the question is mentioning that the bearing of point B from point A, okay, is given as, in the A sub question it is given as 163 degree, and in the B sub question it is given as 214 degree. Okay, so these are the bearings of B from A that is given in A and B. Now draw the diagram and use them to calculate the bearing of A from B. So you have to draw the diagram and you have to calculate the bearing of A from B. Okay, so what they have asked you to find out is calculate the bearings of A from B. Okay, now this is where the back bearing comes in picture. Now what is back bearing? Let me tell you first that suppose you have 2 points A and say point B. Okay, now suppose you say that if you join AB, okay, now at A if you draw a north direction arrow and if you measure this angle, okay, this theta angle is known as, theta is bearing of B from A. Okay, this theta is bearing of B from A. Now if that is the case, you can also find out at the B point if you draw a north direction, and from the north direction if you go clockwise and measure this angle, suppose this angle is say lambda, then this lambda is called the bearing of A from B. A from B. Okay, so you can see that theta is bearing from bearing of B from A, and lambda is bearing of A from B. Okay, so if some particular angle theta is a bearing of B from A, then from A to B, or rather the bearing of A from B is known as the back bearing. Okay, so if this theta is a forward bearing, you can say forward bearing, then this happens to be, lambda happens to be the back bearing. Okay, so basically if it is A from B is the forward bearing, you can write that as FB, then B from A is nothing but the back bearing, is BB. Is that clear? So this is the concept of back bearing, and this is a question where they have given you a bearing of B from A, okay, and they have asked you to find out the bearing of A from B. So basically they have asked you to find out the back bearing, okay. Now how to solve this particular questions? Now basically there are two methods in this. Now they have asked you to calculate, okay. Now to calculate, what you have to do is you have to take any 2 points A and B, okay, or rather you take any 1 point, say A, okay. Now bearing of B from A is given, okay, B from A. So whenever B from A is given, so at A you will have to draw a north direction, okay. So this is that north direction at A, right? Okay. Then from this A, you will have to go in the clockwise direction and cover 163 degree. Okay. That is the bearing value. Okay. 160 degree. So from here, if you go 160 degree, suppose 160 degree comes over here. So you have traveled all the way till here, and here you get 160 degree. So at this 160 degree, if you draw a line starting from A this way. Okay. So this is showing the bearing of 160 degree of B from A. So B will be somewhere on this point. Okay. So this is the diagram that you get for this particular sub-question A. So B from A is 160 degree. So this is the diagram. At A you have to draw a north direction arrow, and from that north direction arrow you have to go clockwise and travel 163 degree to reach a line AB. Okay, and on this line AB you will be taking this point B. Okay, B can, now suppose they have given you some distance AB, then B you will have to take at that distance, otherwise you can take B anywhere because distance is not mentioned. But this bearing of B from A is 163 degree. So we can say that the bearing of B from A is 160 degree, right? Now this has been the diagram which is showing you that. Now he has asked you to calculate A from B, okay, bearing of A from B. So if you want to calculate bearing of A from B, so at B you will have to draw again the north direction. So at B you will draw again a north direction like this. Okay. Now this happens to be the north direction on B. Okay. Now from this north direction again you will go clockwise and go on till you reach this line AB again. Okay. So this particular angle will give you the bearing of A from B, that is the back bearing. Okay. So now you are not supposed to, if you are drawing the diagram, of course you can measure this angle, okay, but then you are asked to calculate, you are not asked to measure, okay, you are asked to calculate. So how we will do the calculation? Now see, these two lines are parallel, okay, this is 160 degrees, so this angle, because this is a this happens to be co-interior angle. See, when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then these two angles 1 and 2 are called as co-interior angles, and angle 1 plus angle 2 is always equal to 180. Okay, this is what geometry tells us. Okay, so you can see that these two north directions are parallel to each other, and this transversal cutting these two parallel lines is AB. So this 163 degree and this particular, let us call it as X. So 163 degree plus this X should be equal to 180. So my X will be equal to 180 minus a 163. Now 180 minus 163 is how much? 10 minus 3 happens to be 7, and 7 minus 6 happens to be 1. So 17 degree is my X. Okay. So we have not completed. We want to find out the bearing of A from B, and A from B, the bearing of A from B is this. Okay. So now if I do 360 minus this 17, this will give me the bearing of A from B. Okay. This will give me bearing of A from B. So 360 minus 17 works out to how much? Let us see. 360 minus 17, 10 minus 7 is 3, and 5 minus 1 is 4, and 343. So this happens to be 343 degree. So the answer for this A, bearing of A from B for this sub question A is nothing but 343 degree. Bearing is always written in 3 digits. Is that clear? That was sub question A. Now let us try to answer sub question B. Now for sub question B, again the bearing of B from A is given as 214. So let me take this point as A. Let me draw a northwards arrow. Okay, this is my northward arrow. Okay, and from here I'm going to travel how much? 214 degrees. So 214 degree will come, this will be 180 degree, and somewhere over here 214 degree I will get. Okay, so roughly this is the point where I will get 214 degree. Is that clear? Suppose this is my 214 degree. So this point B will be somewhere over here. Can you see that? This was my point A, and this is my point B. Okay, this is 214 degree. Now this diagram is showing me that B from A is 214 degree, but they have asked me to calculate A from B. So A from B, if I want to calculate that, then what I'll do is at B I'm going to draw again a north direction arrow. So let us take this as a north direction arrow at B. Fine. Okay, now from this north direction arrow I'm going to travel in the clockwise direction till I reach this line AB. This particular angle will be my bearing of A from B. So A from B will be equal to X. Now if I want to find out X, I'm going to use geometry. First I will find out what is this angle. Suppose this is Y. So Y will be equal to 360 minus a 214. Okay, that should give me 60. 10 minus 4 is 6. Okay, and then 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So 146 I'm getting Y. Now because these two are parallel and they are cut by this transversal AB, so I'm getting X and Y as two co-interior angles. So I'm going to write X plus Y equal to 180. From that Y is 146. So X plus 146 equal to 180. So my X will be equal to 180 minus 146, which works out to 10 minus 6 happens to be 4, and 7 minus 4 happens to be 3, and this is 0. So 0, 34 degree, this is my X, and that is nothing but my bearing of A from B. So my answer is bearing of A from B is equal to 0, 34 degree. Is that clear? So that was question number 2, where I have cleared how to find out the back bearing if A to B or B to A is given, how to find out the back bearing. Okay, that was question number 2. And question number 3 is similar, and this question number 3 I'll be covering in the next videos sometime, because now I don't have enough time to continue with this. So in the next video definitely I'll be covering this question number 3 as well. So that's all for this today's session. Goodbye, take care all of you.